really the best thing I can tell you is just stay calm. I was kind of freaking out. I ended up taking Valium beforehand. That's what they prescribed me because the lady noticed that I was really anxious about it. And she's like, we can give you Valium, don't worry. It did absolutely nothing for me. I will honestly tell you that. And I'm pretty sure that my eye didn't get fully numbed, I swear. My left eye. So how it works on treatment day is you'll wait, obviously, get signed in, and then you'll meet with a lady or someone at the front desk. Basically check, pay for it first, check and make sure that you have your drops with you. So you actually have to get prescribed or pick up an antibiotic and a anti-inflammatory eye drops. Yeah, you have to make sure that you have your eye drops beforehand, and I guess if you didn't, then you couldn't get the surgery. You'd have to reschedule or something. Luckily I had insurance, but the drops probably would have been like, I don't know, $80 for both of them. Not 100% sure. I think I paid like $20 for my drops and my pill. So yeah. So like I said, you have to have your drops beforehand, and then you pay before, and they'll give you this little bag of like, also you have to have the saline drops, which paid $45 for 3 boxes, which there's like 25 in each pack. And they're supposed to be single-use vials, but I get like probably, at first I was probably doing single uses because they were so dry, but yeah, so they, buying them there, that was way inflated as opposed to if you were to buy them at Walmart, but I don't know if they would have let you buy them somewhere else. They probably wanted you to buy them there anyway. And then you just wait to be called, and you'll be given numbing drops beforehand. You'll sit in a chair for like 5 minutes, make sure those are working, and then you just get to meet with the doctor. This is actually met the doctor like 5 minutes before the surgery. I actually didn't meet him prior to the surgery. I spoke with someone else, but he was obviously very knowledgeable, and he noticed I was kind of afraid, and he was reassuring about it. And then you're led into the surgery room. That was horrifying. In this particular facility, the room that you're in is full of machines, like all these crazy looking, torture looking devices, and there are windows, so whoever's taking you home can actually watch the procedure take place, and then they have these monitors that show your eye close up and what's happening. Really freaky. I had no idea what was going on since I was, actually being the one having the surgery, but Jordan said it was horrifying, and then I watched footage of it later, and it was horrifying. Not trying to scare you though, but I just want to be truthful. People told me that it was like, I've heard like mixed reviews, like, oh, it's no big deal, really easy, and then a couple of family members and other people have said, yeah, it was awful, worst pain I've ever experienced, it felt like sands in your eyes, and blah, 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 and it was very painful. It was very painful. They'll lead you to, so you have the eye drops in, you're kind of starting to see fuzzy anyway, you can't really see. They'll lead you to this one table. It's not really an operating table, it's just like a laid back chair with this thing over you. I don't really even know 100% what it looked like because it was so quick and I was so scared, and literally just the whole time I don't think I breathed. That's definitely not advisable, but it happens because it's you have no idea really what's going on, and it's completely out of your control, which I get it, that's how surgeries are, but you're awake. That's horrifying, and you just have to listen and make sure you're doing the right things, because a lot of it's actually on you. Like, you have to keep your eye, I mean, they do pry your eye open, but you do have to blink when they tell you, or you do have to keep your eye open when they tell you, you know, just things like that, and focus on something. So, like during the actual laser part, when they're correcting your vision, you have to focus on the little green light the whole time, but you don't actually see anything. So it's just like there's a shield over it. You can just see, like, I don't know, it's crazy. It's kind of really hard to describe. The first part is where they create the flap, and so they push this thing on your eyeball. They tell you, they give you more drops beforehand. Before anything takes place, they give you more drops. Because I was like, please make sure that my eyes are numb. I really don't want to feel this. And then they start to get prepared to make the corneal flap. So that was the worst part of this entire thing. I had no issues with my right eye. They started with my right eye. They pushed this thing. I don't know what it was. I don't know, some kind of thing to keep your eye pried open. It felt like a ton of pressure. It felt like literally someone's just pushing your eyeball into your brain. That makes it sound worse than it is. I mean, that was the hardest part of this entire procedure, was making the flap. The laser was a breeze. It was making the flap was awful. So I had no issues with my right eye. It was just done in a second, because they get everything prepared, and then they tell, the doctors are talking back and forth to each other, and then they start to, I guess, let the machine do its work and create the flap, and it's very, very, very thin. I didn't realize how thin it was. I mean, I had no idea. I didn't do extensive research on the procedure. I knew how it happened, but I didn't want to watch any videos and freak myself out. So I knew how it was done, but I didn't visually see how it was done until afterwards. So they created the flap on my right eye, had no issues, and then they had quite a bit of problems with this eye. It took them about 3 times to get the little suction thing to pry my eye open to prepare for the flap. And that's why, if you can see, I still have quite a bit of redness. Not so much in my right eye, but in this left eye. And I'm going to include some pictures of, like, probably the day after the surgery. I think, so this is actually called subconjunctival hemorrhaging, which sounds a lot worse than it actually is. It's basically just rupturing of the blood vessels after trauma. So basically, yeah, they were pushing on my eyes and it ruptured some blood vessels. Yeah, I definitely felt it in this eye. I will be 100% honest. I felt you didn't really feel like any kind of laser or any kind of a blade or any kind of, I can't explain it. You just felt a lot of pressure and just like dryness and pain. Like if someone were to, like, I don't know, throw sand in your eyes and like rub it. It's hard to describe, really hard to describe. So basically after they make the flap, you have to walk yourself over to the next table, operating table, chair, lie back thing with the machine. They'll guide you because, I mean, I don't know if your eyes are still pried open or if not. I was just like so rigid and stiff because it was very scary, and I just was like, okay, just take me. I don't know. I couldn't see. It was because I guess everything was kind of blurred from the numbing drops, and then from the laser that was cutting your eye or whatever. Was, I don't know, very weird procedure, very weird sensations. Hopefully I never have to have it done again. They do offer a lifetime of any kind of corrective measures that you may have to take. But anyway, so after the corneal flap was cut, we actually did the corrective part, the laser, which really did not take long compared to getting the flap cut. Like, it was probably spent 5 minutes cutting the flap and like a minute in total doing the actual laser part. And most of it is just preparation, getting you situated, getting your eyes situated, getting your focus situated, because you're supposed to focus on this. They tell you, like beforehand, the doctor told me, you literally have one thing to do. You just focus on the laser or focus on this green dot for like 15 to 30 seconds and it's done. And I don't even think it was 30 seconds. I think it was like 20 seconds, maybe. You really couldn't see anything. It was almost like if there was a shield over your eye, but you saw this green dot. Like, you didn't see a laser or anything. You just saw a green dot. Then after that, I mean, they'll tell you you can sit up and you're out the door pretty much. My eyes, it was pretty freaky because like I could see the sign on the wall, but at the same time it was blurry and hazy just from, I guess the drops and the surgery itself. Here's the kicker. It's after the surgery that is really awful. They literally tell you several times to just go home and sleep. They even give you Tylenol PM before the surgery. I actually took 4 Tylenol PM plus I had a Valium, and it was still very difficult to fall asleep at first. And then, of course, with my luck, there was traffic going home because it was rush hour coming from Plano. So that was really uncomfortable, and I literally just had to keep my eyes closed, and the light sensitivity was so awful. I had my jacket over my face, just eyes closed, just eyes were starting to hurt because the numbing drops were wearing off, and just the sensitivity was so bad, and they felt dry, and I was just watering so bad. There was so much watering that I couldn't even open my eyes anyway. And I was like whining and in pain, and thank goodness for Jordan and my mom, because otherwise I don't think I would have made it. I kept saying, I wish I didn't do it. I don't want to do this anymore. Can you take it back? Blah, 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 blah. Just crying and like whimpering and whining, and maybe I just don't have a very high pain tolerance, but it was very weird sensation. It was very painful afterwards, very dry, a lot of light sensitivity. And then at one point, so probably the worst part was trying to get from my car up the stairs to my apartment, which is probably like maybe 300 feet from my car to the stairs, and then up 4 flights of stairs. And I had to keep my eyes closed the entire way because obviously from the light sensitivity, but when I opened my eyes, I could not see anything. Like, it was just gray. Everything was completely gray. I couldn't see shadows. I couldn't see anything. And that was really scary. I don't know if that was just from the eyes watering so bad or what, but I was just crying and just hysterical because I was like, oh my gosh, I've done this and now I'm going to lose my vision, and what am I going to do? I think it was just mostly the panic that scared me more than anything. So once I got upstairs, I literally just crawled in bed and just tried to, there was no comfort, but it was so uncomfortable. Just tried to lay down and close my eyes and fall asleep because it was bad. It was a long night. Mostly the first 5 to 6 hours afterwards was the worst. Then the pain kind of dissipated, and it was mostly just left with dryness and just a bit more light sensitivity. Like, after my snooze or nap, I tried to open my eyes, and I was like, oh my gosh, they're swollen shut. I can't open my eyes. but it was just mostly because of the watering was so bad and they're just kind of crusted over, whatever. The takeaway is that post-surgery, very painful. If you can, you know, deal with, like, it's basically, the best way I can describe it is if you've had your contacts in for about 2 weeks, someone threw sand in your eyes, and there's scratches on your contacts. Sounds awful, right? But it just goes away. It does go away. The next day I ended up going to the fair. So, I mean, what kind of surgery really allows you to do that? I mean, I had to do drops every 4 hours at the fair, but hey, what can you do? There's a certain order. You do the antibiotic first, and then you do the anti-inflammatory, and you're supposed to wait 5 minutes in between each. And do that every 4 hours for 1 week, and then you can stop doing those, and then they tell you to do the saline drops every hour. And that's I would highly recommend you do that. So just listen to your doctors, listen, you know, to your body. If there's something that doesn't feel right, go back in, you know. They have you come back in for a post-op the next day, and they said everything looked fine, which really they're just mostly checking for that the flap is, you know, back on, and it's not, you know, that you don't rub your eyes. Like, that's the main thing for this surgery, is like, you cannot rub your eyes. You have to wear a sleep mask, like an eye shield at night, just for, you know, they only tell you the first night, but I did mine for like a week and maybe even a little more than that, just because I'm kind of an aggressive sleeper and I didn't want to like move that flap. But you know, it's so worth it. I just highly recommend doing this and just doing it for yourself, getting it out of the way early, because just to, you know, reap the benefits of having it for so long. And it's $3,000, yeah, maybe more, probably closer to $4,000, but imagine how much you spend on contacts or glasses or the eye doctor visits. So I mean, it'll pay for itself, and I think it's worth it so far. So that's what I got to say. I wanted to give my honest opinion, and yeah, so that's it. Bye.